Well, hello and welcome to a very, very interesting conversation this evening. Very interesting. Legalization of Okada. To do or not to do. Now, we have all known the menace that sometimes Okada creates, particularly in the urban areas, because, you know, the whole Ghana is not Accra and Kumasi. There are areas where without Okada, you literally cannot move. Even women in labor depend on Okada. So for them, it's an absolute necessity and a lifesaver. When you come to Accra and you have 2-3 cars in your house, and you wake up in the morning and sometimes your issues decide, which car do I drive today? Then for you, Okada is a total menace. And of course, sometimes they are. You get to the cities, you're driving without helmets, you're driving without your driving lights, no indicators, and they're literally just driving as if they are on a suicide mission. Death toll on Okada, very high. Robbery with Okada, very high. Indeed, there's so many negative connotations tagged to Okada, which is literally a motorcycle. And then, now they use the motorcycles as a taxi in form of carrying passengers about. So here we are with a rider who seems to have no care for his own safety, now carrying you as a pylon passenger. Double trouble. But if you can't beat them, join them. So Rwanda came up with a model because they were going through the same thing and it seems to be working. So Ghana is now looking into the Rwanda formula to see would it work here. But haven't things gotten out of hand? And they just way too many. And indeed, I think some of the police are literally overwhelmed and have given up. And you and I know that whichever the rules are on the road, it does not apply to motorcycles. You know that. Without helmets, ride through red lights, ride on the sidewalk. I mean, just ride anywhere. And we see them every day with the police standing there just watching. And the excuse is, well, he's on a motorbike. How do I apprehend him? But if you can't beat them, you join them. Should we join them or should we beat them is the big question today. And I have two big guns who are road safety conscious and understand everything about Okada. Don't move. My name is Nana Sakwa, the fourth chief of the famous Little Republic of Akwemue-Dumasa. When I come back, we're talking Okada. Well, thank you very much for staying. And the topic is legalization of Okada. Should we or should we not? And I'll see if my producer will let me open the phone lines just to hear what the public sentiment on it. I'll ask the producer if I'm allowed to hear your sentiment on this, because this is a big one. Sitting right next to me is DSP Alexander, being head of education, research and training, MTTU. So you know that he's well in there with regards to safety. And then my own brother Nana Ano Ame here, safety analyst and an Okada rider himself. Yes, Nana is a staunch Okada rider. I should have flashed some of his bikes on the street. So, DSP, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
And Nana Ano Ame here, you are welcome too.
Thank you, my brother.
Good.
I like the intro. Okada rider.
Yes.
I would have preferred an avid motor rider, but motorbike rider.
That sounds too posh.
Okada has got. There's something interesting that when we went to Rwanda, and when we met we went to the mayor's office and we met the city engineer, and they were talking about people who ride motorbikes as sort of deviants. So the Rwanda government deemed it wise to set up a special police division to take care of motorbike riders. So on that note, I mean, in your intro, you said it all. But you know, when you're bitten by that I wouldn't even know what to call it.
It's a bag, isn't it? It's a bag.
It's a bag. it lives with you forever. It doesn't matter what your status. If I'm president of Ghana today, that I'm not going to be. But the motorbike instinct will still be in me. But since I know you also share this similar sentiments. But there's something that I've always look. You are a cruiser, a showman, but I'm a naked bike rider. I like the speed. You know, they said is the thrill, the speed that kills, isn't it? There's something about the thrill of the speed is what kills. But you know, the thing is, we protect ourselves, and at all times, you have to protect yourself. And helmet wearing is mandatory. Yeah. You cannot mount a motorbike without a helmet. And you said something that was very instructive in your intro, that if people who ride motorbikes, as if they don't care for their lives. But I do, and I'm sure you also do care for your life. Now today I'm presenting you this helmet that I've had for you for a long time. There has been an occasion for me to present it to you. So this is a showman's, this one is a showman's helmet. It's not the one that we wear.
Okay.
So you have your thing here.
Oh, well, your sunglasses and everything.
Yes,
well, thank you.
That's for. I know you have a monster somewhere, and I want to see you in this helmet. If you can show it to, especially I like the way.
I like this too.
Yes.
With my little sunshade protector.
Yes, and then also you have your camera.
Oh yes, just in case I need to get evidence of those.
GoPro camera there, and then there you go.
Well, so thank you very much.
We want to see you safe on the road. So that's for you, Nana.
Well, thank you very much. And I think on behalf of all my viewers, you want to say thank you. I have a nice helmet. Oh.
Pleasure.
Let's carry on with the show before I get over. Very soon, my producer will show you my bike on the screen. Don't worry. I'll flash you on the screen for you.
Unfortunately, I didn't get it color coordinated because
black is neutral.
Yes.
Black is always neutral. Black goes with everything.
Yes.
Black is neutral, and very grateful. Well, DSB.
Yes.
Should we or should we not legalize Okada?
Thank you. My background is policing, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you ride? First of all, let me say good evening to you.
Do you ride?
I don't.
Oh.
But I train.
You train riders? Oh, I see.
He trains, but he doesn't ride.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
First of all, the issue as to legalizing it or not, I'm torn in between, you know? Mm-hmm. Because I'm privy to what is happening in Ghana and how the use of motorcycle dangerously is exposing a lot of Ghanaians to injury and death. And the fact that enforcement has become a challenge to the states, and a lot of Ghanaians are getting killed and some are getting injured. It's a problem. For example, if you look at the cumulative figures, starts at half with me between January and September this year. For example, of all vehicles that were involved in crashes, motorcycle increased by 23.24% over the same period last year, from 2005 crashes, 2016 to 2,471. Wow. If you compare with commercial and private, they are in the negatives. So it tells you of how consistently over time the issue of misuse of motorcycle. Either minors are riding, either untrained hands are handling it, either those on it are not wearing protective clothing, either they are using the wrong side of the road and facing oncoming vehicles, and either they are involved in illegal thing you are talking about, Okada. Because Okada is different from other misuse, because Okada has to do with going contrary to regulation 128 of the airline, which says that you cannot buy or ride or sit on it as pillion rider for a fee. Okay, so that is the Okada issue. But the rest of the infractions, in addition to that one, because when motorcycles, as we have in Ghana, are being used for commercial purpose, the issue of economic interest motivates most of these owners and riders and infract on safety rules, because if you are to comply with the safety rules, they, in their minds, they think that you cannot make many trips. So you have to violate, and you expose yourself in the process to danger. And a lot of them are getting injured and are getting killed. And some who are injured have had their body parts amputated.
Based on this,
so,
what do you...
So for me, and given the traffic fall on our police urbanized jurisdiction, I wouldn't go support the state to go and open the floodgate for people to. Yeah, we will be sending them to the sticks, and on that basis, however, in a peri-urban environment where the traffic mix is so low, and as it's also a traditional tool in some of the outlying regions, I will go for discriminatory way of using motorcycle for such purposes. Best of all, to carry goods as it is in the law. Because as for service delivery, the law allows motorcycle to be used for service delivery, including
letters and stuff like that.
And also including freighting of goods. Because it says delivery of services, it may include that. But to carry passengers is where the problem is, because human beings have to be protected. And our forefathers in 1952 saw it through time. So they said because it has open sizes, we should not attempt to issue commercial, we shouldn't commercialize it, and therefore ban DVLA from issuing commercial license plates to motorcycle. So they are all private. And I think nothing has changed, because when you also look at the mortality and fatality problems associated with it, even at the referral and trauma centers, it will tell you we have not, we are still where we are since 1952, that we need to protect our motorcycle users. And I think the best that the country can do for now, given where we have reached, is to ensure that we stringently enforce the rule of law by equipping police and enhance sensitization. But the issue of legalization, I'm afraid, because of the public health and safety problem, that will, in the end, bedevil the users. That's all that. Otherwise, it's a mode that is used.
Let me bring Nana in here. Nana, what's your... You've been to Rwanda. They were going through similar challenges, and then they were able to streamline it. So, I mean, where do you stand, and how did they achieve it, and what can we do?
Yeah, you see, Nana, this Okada came about because of, if I should say, total failure on public transport. When there's a demand, there's a market. When there's no demand, there can't be any market. The Okada came about Okada came about as a result of deficiencies in our public transport. In the urban areas, it's because of congestion, and it can. I mean, if you get on a motorbike, like I do, it doesn't matter the number of cars I have. If I have to come to the central business district to do business and there's so much traffic around 9 o'clock, I hop on my motorbike, put all my safety gear, I'm there within 15 minutes. But if I want to drive in comfort, because I have a V8 and all that, it will take me over 2 hours, and I'll be late for my meeting. So it's for that reason that I will get on a motorbike. But I make sure that I do the right thing. The mandatory ones is to wear a helmet. I put on helmet, gloves, boots, ballistic jacket, because I love my life. I don't want to go and get hurt on the road, okay, for that reason. And then if you go to the rural areas, which Supo was talking about, peri-urban areas, there's virtually public transport is non-existent. If you come to my town, Inasi, you see a lot of this Okada plying the roads haphazardly, no training, no helmets, nothing. But there's a demand.
3-4 pylons at the same time?
There's a demand. So they are filling in the shortfall, and that is what has brought about this Okada menace, if I should use the word menace, advisedly.
Sure.
Now, you asked me, should we or should we not? If you ask me, I say yes, in as much as I would say we have not done well as a country. That, let me go a little bit back. President Kufuor, when he came, he saw that we had a need for public transport, a well-organized public transport. So when he was leaving, he tried to introduce the Metro Mass, right? And then the Metro Mass should have been built upon for us. For now, for the last, goodness knows, 10 years, at least you should have had a public transport worthy of its name. But now what do we see? It's all been run down. And then when it was run down, the, what do you call it, the Okada stepped in to fill in the gap. Now, why are you saying that? I mean, you said in your intro that if you can't beat them, join them. The World Bank, in its infinite wisdom, paid for us to go and do a study tour and look at the systems that have been put in place in Rwanda. And when we got to Rwanda, my goodness, I really have never been ashamed of myself in as many years. The mayor's office, the city engineer was saying, oh yes, these are the people from Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana. We know about you, you know, credentials, everything, the first black African country and all that. Wait a minute. This guy should come to Ghana and see Ghana, the state that we are in, and looking at Kigali, I was so ashamed of myself that the gentleman was extolling the credentials and virtues of Ghana. Coming back, you see how dirty.
So on the screen is Kigali.
Yes.
Yeah.
How filthy Ghana is. And yet there are people, Rwanda has gone through.
On the screen, so this is a Okada.
Yes, the system, well-organized Okada system, they call it motor taxi, in Kigali and in Rwanda. And they have a specialized police division that takes care of Okada motor taxi riders and motorbike riders in general. And everything is organized. The pillion riders, you see that they wear helmets. The rider wear helmet. They group themselves into cooperatives, the motor taxis. So the motor taxi, it works they've done it so beautifully that every rider belongs to a cooperative.
You can't just be you have to be part of the cooperative.
Part of the cooperative. Okay. And the cooperative are registered. You must have a minimum of 100 riders before you can be accepted and licensed to be a cooperative operating motor taxi. Now, if you go and violate the laws or offend the laws, excuse me, you affect the whole cooperative members.
Okay.
So it's the cooperative itself that ensure that none of their members go wayward. No, because if you do, we are suspended and they have to deal with the cooperative until the police deal with them and ensure that they give them a clean bill of health before they come back and allow them to operate again. So it's as simple and basic, and they conform and comply with the laws and regulations 101% if there's anything like that.
Let me take a quick break here and come back, and then when we come back we find out that should we have this cooperation and these guys here, I mean, are the police equipped already to even concern themselves with motorcycle or motor taxis Haven't they got enough on their plate already? We're coming straight back. Legalize or not legalize Okada, but just before the break, Nana had explained to us how elaborate the Rwandan system was working, and we're just trying to find out if DSP would, adopt it. Even if there are cooperatives, grouped in 100, one person affects everybody, so basically they police themselves, ease your work off. I mean, why would you still say no to such a formula?
I think if how nice it would be if you get the fundamentals right from the beginning, like the case of Rwanda, where vehicular population is so minimal, and we've gotten all these structures there. Just oppose it with ours, and we have a road law, and there are so many regulations that are not enforceable. For example, if you look at Regulation 121, for example, it says a person shall not operate a commercial vehicle unless that person holds a road transport operator's license. Yeah. This has been in our books since 2012. It hasn't been done.
What is that?
That has to do with how to, like, organizing transport operating cooperatives, for example. Because that place, all the commercial operators are into those cooperatives, and that they are known that self-enforcement is also possible at all times. And the situation where it's here, the minister is not, I don't say minister, the Ministry of Roads and Transport, the Ministry of Transport is supposed to organize this thing, and it hasn't been done. So people get up, for example, and he calls him or herself a commercial vehicle owner and an operator, because he has a roadworthy that signifies that the vehicle is commercial and is operating. And therefore, it's very difficult to sanitize the system we have here. Again, you look at our system, we are discussing a vehicle population of about 2 million. With these hardened challenges we have all this while. So, and most of these vehicles are also congregating in our cities, as well as on the coast and in the middle belt, and that's where we have these problems. And that's why I said that if you have an environment which has got very high traffic mix, and enforcement is also not influenced by the systems, because when we are looking at a systems approach, we're looking at enforcement that is based on ICT. That makes it easy for anybody who violates to be identified in real time and followed it up with a notice for him to be forthcoming for committing one offense or the other. It's not the case here. Rwanda, they have got the basics right, so they have all these spot fine systems that is running, and therefore it makes police very biting. But it's not like here. We are now trying to establish the basics. That now we are discussing the issue of national.
Aren't you overwhelmed? I mean, with the Okada issue, the police is overwhelmed.
You become overwhelmed when all these things are not there. For example, even now it takes days, for example, to identify who has committed what and hiding where, because we don't have a national data on all of that, do we? We have now decided to get, automate our record, you and I, at the National Identification Authority offices, and then so that we can synchronize that one with the vehicle register, and then the license holders register, the DVLA, and then to have the digital device that police can use to detect violations, both in situ and moving violations. So if you put all these things together with the overwhelming number, because Rwanda, for example, what you are talking about, the motor population is about 32,000. Okay, but you are talking about over 500,000 nations.
No, it's 200,000.
The whole population,
200,000.
Their vehicle population is nothing to write home about.
So for 200,000, not 32,000.
At least it's not money. That's not what I gathered. I gathered 32,000.
No, 200,000.
Because the whole national population, vehicular population is not even up to 500,000. So in such an environment, it becomes easy to manage when you also have to be able to organize them to cooperatives, and police is also backing it up with a spot fine system, ICT. But here, we already the issue is that because the states saw the problem with the use of motorcycle, the Ghana decided that it should be banned, and people are also forcing themselves to get it legalized. And at the same time, fatalities that are associated with injuries are getting out of hand.
So let me see. Let me put the number out and let me get the public sentiment on this issue. 0302 211 691 692. 0302 211 691 or 692. I want to hear your sentiment. Let me take one or two calls. What do you think? That they should regularize it? Maybe to minimize armed robbery? I don't know. What?
Well, as for regard to issues of security is there. It's something that confronts police and we are battling it. But I think this evening is about the safety, how it's impacting on public health. And it's clear on our data.
No, if we agree, obviously the law would have to be changed. We can't go, but as to whether it's even worth changing the law,
you know, because worth changing it, how long is it going to take? What about if it's a public transport problem? What are we waiting for? Why don't we diversify it, and so that we have high occupancy buses? Because now we have introduced the Type B from Amasamayelo. It has to be replicated all over. And then the Type A that we wanted to start with a bus rapid transit system from Accra Central on the Graphic Road to Kaswa. And then Kumasi and all over. What is holding us? And I thought that the state must take a bold decision because we have come far from 1957, and we cannot now think that the panacea to our transport, what do you call, is a motorcycle. I think we may be a laughing stock in the eyes of the world if Ghana now will say that, oh, in order to solve our problem in terms of transport, movement, communication and all that, it is motorcycle that is going to solve our problem. I don't think so, because the attendant public health problem with motorcycle currently is a major issue for the country. It is a bane to our development.
No, the police is saying, look, it's a no-go area for us. We have just way too many vehicles, cities are way too dense, and we didn't get the foundation right. So, clear them off the road.
Well, I don't know, but Supo has put out a lot of issues out there that I wanted to respond to some of them, but we don't have time, really, about...
No, respond. No. I give you the time to respond.
About where we have come far, and we now want to go back and regularize motorbikes as a public transport. I share that sentiment with him, because, you know...
No, let me interrupt. Kojo in Begro. Hello, Kojo.
Hello.
Yes, let me hear you.
Yeah, I really think that motor should be legalized. Yes, it is simple. If you go to any of the district capitals, and in fact, the big towns, the police are overwhelmed with the motor population. Whether they like it or not, or we like it or not, it is something that has come to stay. And the earlier we regularize it, the better.
Thank you very much, Kojo. Let me speak to Bauer in Techiman.
Hello, Nana.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Nana.
Good evening.
Yeah, Awal Mohammed calling from Techiman.
Let me hear you.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good program that you have brought in. It's like the whole nation is engulfed with this motorcycle business. And I think it is necessary that it's legalized so that the youngsters who have not got job now will also get some job doing. It's not only the motorcycle for one, but look at it, we have now got a new invention, which is the tricycle. You see that tricycle with 3 legs, and youngsters are using it and it's growing. And it's opening up our villages, our towns, they are opening up. So it is necessary that the police now come in, because if we don't regulate them well, then certainly it's not going to help, because whatever they are doing, they are coming into the system and they are working. So I think it's necessary that we regulate.
Thank you very much, Power. Let me go to Akusi and speak to Lawe. Hello, Lawe.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Let me hear you. What do you reckon? Legalize or not?
Yes, I think Okada should be legalized because it's something that has come to stay with us. but the training is my main problem. At least most of us should be trained on what to do.
Thank you very much. Well, thinks we should legalize it, and the training should be increased. And I think what people are saying, that in honesty, you can't get them off the road.
Well, that I agree. But the sentiments that I said I shared with Supo was that Ghana has come this far, and now we want to go back.
So to rudely interrupt again. Godwin in Abuase. Hello, Godwin. Godwin in Abuase. Okay, I think the call dropped.
We want to go back using auto rickshaw as public transport. Auto rickshaw, the tricycles the gentleman was referring to in the calling. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it will be disgraceful on our part that we've come this far and want to go back to auto rickshaw. Now, I said Kufuor left us with a metro transit bus system that we could have built upon. And I heard in the last campaign, electioneering, that President Mahama, who hails from the north, he came to meet or inherit the metro transit bus system. And instead of making it better, he didn't. He, against flying in the face of the law, LI 2180 Regulations 128, which expressly prohibit the use of rickshaws as public transport.
Let me speak to Noah in Cape Coast. Hello, Noah.
Good evening. My name is Noah from UCC Cape Coast.
Okay, let me hear you.
I think the Okada should be legalized, but the problem has got to do with the safety measures that the riders should comply with to avoid the increase in the injuries. They should be given the education so that they avoid the overtaking, the reckless overtaking, and the way they don't comply with traffic rules and regulations, so that there will be orderliness in the system. So I think it should be legalized.
Let me speak to George in Sunyani. Hello, George, and thank you, Noah.
Hello, good evening, Nana.
Good evening.
Nana, as for me, I don't agree with those who say it should be legalized. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the way that these people ride motorbike in this country, some do ride with chalewati, without helmet, which is not acceptable anywhere. Mm-hmm. And for me, they haven't shown any sign that they should be legalized. And look at these wines that have this box at the back. They carry huge amount of load and apply it on the highways. It's very serious. It's very serious. So
thank you very much. Let me go to Accra and speak to Emmanuel. Hello, Emmanuel.
Hello, Nana.
Let me hear you.
Nana, good evening.
Good evening, and speak up a little bit for me.
Nana, please, my problem is the Okada should be legalized. Mm-hmm. And then again, please, I want the police to check the age mate at the age that are going to ride the motorbike. If you go to our towns and villages, most of the children are kids, like under 8 years riding Okada. And I don't think that's good. But apart from that, it's creating jobs for our youth. So if they can do that as well, it will be nice for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, the sentiments are for legalized, but then the fear is, how do you train them? I mean, there's thousands of them.
Yes, we have created the problem, and we have to find a way, the means of solving it in terms of enforcing the laws. But I was making a point that in the northern region, when Kufuor left behind the metro transit system, and the Mahama regime could have improved on it and sustained it and made it better. Now let's take Tamale. Tamale have a large number of motorcycle population in Tamale that are using Okada and other things in Tamale. And Tamale, as a metropolis, is ideal for a public transport system like the tram, where we could have made an investment and set up a pilot there. And during the time of President Mahama, he could have used that as a pilot to improve the public system transport there, as opposed to bringing in this auto rickshaw, which was dubbed as Mahama Kambu, which flies in the face of the law. And even he put it in his Green Books of Achievement against the law that he had introduced the auto rickshaws to alleviate poverty, youth in motor taxi, by using something that the law that was passed in 2012 by the then NDC government, LI 2120 to LI 2180.
DSP doesn't even want to comment.
No, because I don't. As one breath, you are saying, oh, we should legalize it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm caught.
The tricycle, brother, you reckon should be legalized.
No, I'm not saying it should be, the tricycle should be legalized.
No, I mean the motor bicycles. Now they are using it for Okada. Whether it is tricycle, whether it's quadricycle, whether it is motor bicycles. They are all banned under the LI Regulation 128. But it's the reason why we are here, that the youth are claiming that it is a source of job. And I'm also saying that because of the public health problem associated with
but now, whether we like it or not, they are here with us. Yes. What do we do with them?
We should enforce the law.
We need to basically.
No, we can't enforce the law.
We legalize it and ensure that we do what the Rwandan government have done by ensuring that every single motorbike on the road is registered. It's registered. And you see, they have a thing that we will be caught within the web. The Rwandan Revenue Authority, they are the first people to register the motorbikes. Then you have the Rwandan police, they do the duties of our DVLA. It's under the commissioner of police in Rwanda. They do all the registrations. And then everything is tied to the national ID card, which fortunately, if we get our national ID card sorted out in Ghana, that would eradicate all the non-registration of motorbikes on our streets.
I don't know I've said it, but I think that the police nationwide, we are doing what we can. On a daily basis, we are arresting and we are prosecuting. We will continue to do particularly those who are not wearing helmets, those who are using motorcycles that are unregistered, those who don't have license A and are using them, those who are we try our best. And that is
even some of the police break the law.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter for us. It doesn't matter who breaks the law. What is this? Is that whoever police chance on committing any of these infractions that exposes them to danger, we try as much as, because for example, when you look at my data between January and September, 258 were not wearing helmets and have been arrested and sent to motor court, for example. We will continue to do our bit. But what it is that, like we said, the country is overwhelmed because of the sheer number of motorcycles on the National Vehicle Register, and that are seen also on both private and those that are using the private for commercial, you call it Okada, and the infractions that is going on. And I think that moving on, like I've always advocated that with this national data coming, quickly the state should adopt the spot fine system for police to work under Regulation 157 to identify instantly and issue notices for people to be forthcoming, change attitude, and to get miscreants off the road. And also ensure that we invest heavily in our public transport system. We have to, because now it looks as if there is a gaping gap in almost of these vehicles, public vehicles, or public transport are concentrated in urban centers. You go to the peri-urban outlying areas, you go and you realize that some are even using cholori and trucks carrying passengers. Can you imagine?
Could it be that maybe sometimes the roads are so bad, I don't want to put my...
Yes, in the rural
but
areas.
That's why the state has to come in. We allow the private entities, they might want to apply on asphalted road in police urbanized jurisdictions. But that's why the state must come in. And that's why I will continue to encourage the state to also deliver the services it's delivering by putting more money into the metro mass transit to get more fleet for them, because they deliver those services. STC can do it. When you get our vehicle, we might not do it. But I've been to, for example, Asankregua, on the Samates Road, Samra Boy going to Uche. I've been there before. You and I will not put our vehicles there, but you see Metro Mass moving on such corridors, and that's what we'll do. Otherwise, this motorcycle will feel it, and so it's also a failure on the part of the state. How come 1957 we cannot boast of rail lines? How come we cannot boast of trams? How come that even today we freight charcoal, tomatoes, onions on our N6 from Tamale, to Accra on road, on tracks, for example? And that is a problem we have.
I asked a very pertinent question when we met the Rwandese about why have they invested so much into this motor taxi system, and listening to them, they were using them as a stopgap measure, and then they were going to the perception was that they were going to do away with them once their public transport system is improved. But then what they were saying was, no. The policy is that they want to bring the public transport up to 500 meters to the users. So when that happens, when they achieve that, the motorbikes will then be moved to the peri-urban areas, and then they will fill in areas where the public transport the 500 meters that the public transport cannot meet. They will bring those passengers in there from doorstep to the areas where they can access the public transport. So that is the policy. But here, do we have a clearly defined policy for public transport?
It's a real big one.
But I think you saw the figure.
The figure you quoted was 240.
Yes, of all the vehicle category we have between January and September, motorcycle that have been involved in crashes has increased by 23.24% from 2005 last year.
Supo is talking about this. In Ghana, we have driving schools for motor cars. Do we have driving schools for motor riders?
We have to start all too soon. That's what time will allow us. But this conversation definitely hasn't ended. But before I go, let me present to you my Okada. So if the director will flash on the screen.
Okada, yes.
That's my little.
That's a motorcycle.
You don't use it to carry people.
This can buy.
Well, and I say official part to Kukubo Nene Kwesite Hajimai Dodowa Hene. Today we went to visit him and the Shai Festival. So Nene Okukubo, official part to you. But we'll be back to do this all of it again tomorrow. And thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been interesting, and I hope this conversation carries on.